it's better for me, okay? So let's talk about, like I said, let's talk about bandsaws for a minute. If you ever decide to get one, once again, I would suggest that if you're going to get a bandsaw, please get one that has at least a 1 horsepower motor on it. Because I found that most saws bog down. And like I said, a lot of guys, what they do is they get a 10-inch saw or something, and they put a 1 horsepower motor on it. They just exchange motors, and buddy, it runs great and cuts great. It's just, I just feel that power is the more power you have, the better off it's going to cut, and the better off it's going to track and everything like that, in other words. So I just feel that now, I tell you, this new Pegasus saw they've got now, bandsaw and stuff, I heard it's an amazing bandsaw. It really has. I have never tried it, used it, or watched anybody use it. But you got Delta, you've got Jet, you've got Grizzly, you've got, and these are heavy duty saws. These are you know, and but if you're going to cut now, like I said, for 10-inch saws and stuff like that, up to about 2 inches, 2.5, maybe 3 inches, you'll be fine. Okay. But anything over that, you're going to bog down or burn or whatever it is most of the time. So I'm not downing these saws, okay? Please, I don't want a bunch of letters, oh, I have a 10-inch saw and it's all great and all that stuff. But if you do, and you put a larger motor on it, you're going to find out you don't have the problem of and also, one of the keys to a much more powerful motor is as you're cutting, if the saw is bogging down, then your tracking on your blade is going to go off as well. In other words, it's not going to stay in. It's because you're having to force it even more. So that's what I've learned about bandsaws over the years. So I'm just saying that I like to get my little guys finished. I like to do them in an afternoon or an hour, 30 minutes to 45 minutes, I can get one of these little guys done. So, where it takes me much longer with a block of wood, and I just don't, I like to cut them out with the saw. So that's just my opinion, but that's what I like. All right, and that is our little video on why I prefer a bandsaw over cutting it out of a block of wood. And, or cutting the figure out before you do it, in other words. And so, and bandsaws, let me say something too. Please be careful about anybody talking to you and getting a scroll saw to work as a bandsaw. They got a lot of these people sell these little 16-inch throat scroll saws. And there's smaller versions, and they say, oh, these things will cut up to this and that and all that stuff. I'm going to tell you something. I had one, and I didn't like it. It fought me all the way. Now, they do make some scroll saws that are bigger, much more expensive, cost as much, some of them cost as much as a bandsaw. Okay? Much more expensive. So, when you get into bandsaws, I think most of the ones with a 1 horsepower motor start in the 12-inch on up type bandsaws. Now, I've seen some good reviews on a Win 12-inch bandsaw, and then I saw that you know, some people had used it and didn't like it. So they're just being honest. So Skill, I've heard that their tabletop saw is a good saw. I have not used one, so I don't know. I just know this. If you put a big enough motor on any saw, it's going to work great. Okay? But if your saw is like 2/3 or 3/4 or something else, sometimes 3/4 is okay, and you're trying to cut 5-6 inch stuff, you're going to have issues. You really are. And your blade's going to track, it's going to do all those things. So, and please don't buy a cheap scroll saw thinking it's going to cut like a bandsaw, because it does not. A scroll saw is meant for smaller things by scrolling. That's what it's meant for. 1/4-inch wood, 1/2-inch wood, things like that for doing scroll work. It's not made for large, and that's usually the height adjustment on the thing tells you that when you buy one. And I've always found out those smaller scroll saws, they vibrate pretty bad. I mean, they vibrate so bad sometimes. I mean, I had one that vibrated so bad. I don't know what it was. I mean, it was just unpleasant to work with. So, anyway, I'm just telling you. If you can afford a bandsaw and you can use one, whatever, please do. And if you're just cutting out small things like this, like 1 or 1.5 inch or 1 1/4 inch thick, a 9-10 inch bandsaw will work fine. They will. They'll work good. They'll work real good. Cut your stuff out. I could use one, but I cut other stuff, you know. But as far as getting into real thick wood with it, 4 inches, 5 inches, even 3.5, stuff like that, they're not good. They just don't have the power. So, anyway, God bless you now, and thank you for listening, and thank you for listening to me. God bless now.